When you hear cream of celery soup mentioned, you're probably thinking of that gummy synthetic goop in a can. Cream soups go back to the earliest cookbooks ever published and are usually thickened with flour or bechamel base. Fine hotel restaurants take a different approach, as shown here. There's no flour. The thickness comes from a puree of vegetables and fresh cream. The soup is not heavy or gummy in any way, and it is the ideal platform for enhancing with crab or lobster, as shown later. I assembled the key ingredients here, about somewhere between 100 and 120 grams of onion, the mustard seeds, some cloves of garlic, bay leaf, 300 grams of celery, and the 90 mils of white wine. We're going to begin heating the pan now. Once the pan gets hot, add enough oil, cover the bottom of the pan. I'm going to add the onions, the bay leaf, and the mustard seeds. Begin cooking this. Now that the pan's hot, I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit to 6 on 1 to 10. After about 3 minutes, you see there's some brown on the edges of the onion. That's the stage that you're looking for. You're not looking to deeply caramelize these, but you want a little bit of brown around the edges. Now I'm going to add the celery in that I cut up coarsely while the onions are cooking, of course. And right after adding the celery, I'm going to add the sugar and a teaspoon of salt. This is the sugar. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. We'll have to adjust the amount of salt later in order to balance it to taste, but I know that it's going to need at least a teaspoon. So I can go ahead and add that now, and that'll help break the celery down as it's being heated here. Salt draws out moisture. And here it is after 5 minutes. Here, remember, you're not trying to completely kill the celery here. You want it to still taste like celery. If you overcook it, it will be muddy and not good tasting. So I'm now adding the white wine, and I'm going to cook this down until the white wine is almost completely evaporated. Just keep an eye on it. It's been about 5 or 6 more minutes now, and it's drying out, but it's not dry enough yet. And keep giving it a stir around once in a while. Just don't let it run dry and actually start burning. That'll ruin the whole thing. If it gets closer, you got to watch it more carefully. It has been about 2-3 more minutes. It's quite dry now. As I drag this across, there's no liquid that rushes in to fill the space, so I'm going to add that garlic. Stir that around for a minute here, 30 seconds. Not even that much. And we're going to add the chicken stock. Bring this up to a simmer. Then we're going to put a lid on it and turn the. Right now the heat's been on 6 this entire time. It's been on 6. Once this comes up to a simmer, I'm going to turn the heat down to 4, put a lid on it, and cook it for 15 minutes with the lid on. 15 minutes later, lid off. Get that bay leaf out of there. There I come. Give it a stir, let it cool down just a little bit, then we're going to blend it. Once it's blended well, we pass it to a sieve. You want to use a fairly large sieve because this will maximize the flow. If you use a small sieve, it'll be really difficult to get it all through. There's going to be a lot of fibers from that celery that will clog up the sieve. So try to use a larger one. This is what we've ended up with. I have not added the cream yet. This is the trick to keeping soup longer, cream soup longer in the refrigerator, is you add the cream when you're reheating it. You should have about 400 grams of soup here. It's going to take about 100 grams of cream. So simply add about 25% cream when you're reheating this. So you can keep this for several days. If you add the cream now, especially while it's hot, the soup will spoil within a day or 2 in the refrigerator. If you keep it this way, it will last for 4 or 5 days. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.